Okay, this is going to be sort of a quick video for me because, as you know, most of my videos are fairly long. This one will be kind of quick, but I'm doing it because I got a bunch of inquiries this past couple of weeks for this sale that's coming up out in Stockton, California. It's the U.S. Poly International Auction Gallery. And a bunch of people have sent in these because they have pretty convincing looking photographs. Everything they sell is a fake. But people have been asking me, is it connected to this, which is Poly Auctions in Hong Kong? No. Poly US, this Poly International outfit, as far as anybody knows, has absolutely no relationship, no connection to in any way with Poly Auctions in Hong Kong. They're not connected, okay? And if you go to this website, you're going to find some rather disturbing things. If you've been watching the channel for any length of time, you're going to see some familiar faces too, because we've covered, as many of you know, we've talked a great deal about Eden Gallery down in Georgia, and Roswell Auction Gallery in Georgia, and Lauren Gallery down in Georgia, and a couple on, I think we've done some on Seven Seas, which is another sort of spin-off of the other three. And they're all just, these are my opinions now. I have to keep that in mind, but everything they sell is a fake as far as I can tell. I've never seen them sell a legitimate antique. It doesn't mean they haven't, but I haven't seen one yet. But in any event, this sale is coming up, and there's a bunch of very convincing looking things in here. But what's very, very funny is that when I was looking at one of the listings that somebody had asked about was this, and I saw the name Arland Holmes. And I said, I've heard that name before, and some of you will remember who Arland Holmes is, maybe. You may recall that I did a blog on it back in 2000 and, when was this blog done? April of 2020, and I said, who the heck is Arland Holmes? Because this was an auction that was being done at Lauren Gallery, who was peddling a bunch of things that were supposed to be from the estate of Arland Holmes in 2019. And then in 2020, Roswell Gallery, just down the street from the other auction house, began selling things by him. And it went on from there, and lots of pieces have turned up in the collection of Arland Holmes. And this time around, Arland's collection now is being sold with the same photographs, incidentally, the same photos that were used in Georgia for several auctions over there by Lauren and Roswell and so forth. I think Eden had some by Arland Holmes as well. Seven Seas has had things by Arland Holmes. And now they've sort of taking it on the road, and it's all going out to Stockton. And this is, just so you know a bit more about it. This is the address that I looked up on some of the records in the state of California, because they have a lot of public disclosure stuff out there. And the address for their business for Poly International, no connection to the Chinese version, is right between Starbucks and Panda Express. Maybe they run it in Panda Express. Who knows? But this is the place, and it's basically on the front end of a shopping mall. But they evidently, somewhere they have offices in this building. This is 530, this building, but their entrances is around the back. So as best as I can tell, they're located in this building somewhere. At any rate, bunch of things in there from Arland Holmes in this sale that's coming up. Along with things, this is the thing that really cracked me up. There were a number of lots in here. You'll see this Japanese gentleman they've added in here, and they're claiming they're selling pieces from the Tokugawa clan. And according to their description, they don't seem to realize that the Tokugawas were the head of the Edo shogunate. They were an unbelievably powerful family, and their collection did not end up in Stockton, California, if they ever had one. I've never heard that they were particularly big on collectors. I'm sure as members of the imperial family, they had very nice things around their house, and probably some Chinese things. But the pieces that they're putting in here that allegedly came from the shogunate of the Edo period, the Tokugawa family, is just ridiculous. These are all fakes. They got, $1,000 estimates, $600 starting bids, and so forth. And of course, it's just nonsensical. Here's a copy of one of those, fantastically rare Sungguan type jars that Wonder sold. You may remember that was sold at Sotheby's in Hong Kong a couple of months ago, and it sold for $2 or $3 million. Well, they've got one here you can buy for $1,000 to $2,000. And another name that turned up in here that we've all seen before is this one. And this is Mike and Annie Gaither. And they're also from Georgia, and their collection was also sold at Lauren and Roswell and Eden and all this other stuff. Well, their collection now has migrated out to California as well. All right, and it just goes on and on. Here's some poor Chinese gentleman they plucked out, and they called him Mr. An Yuan Zhenji, well-known barrister during the Showa period. They misspelt Showa; they called it Showa period in Japan. Nonsensical rubbish. His family, his father had a special liking for Chinese culture. Now, there may have been a guy with that name that his family had interest in Chinese art and culture. The problem is that this vase, this sleeve vase with the iron red dragon on it, is brand new. It's a total fake, as is everything else in the sale, as far as anybody could tell. But here's the one they're showing that they're claiming came from the Tokugawa clan, and they dug up some studio photographs of people who used to pose for cameras back around 1910 to 1920 and end up in albums long after the end of the Tokugawa clan. There were no cameras taking pictures in Japan in the 1850s, but that's what they're trying to imply here. Toward the end of the Edo period, I guess they had special cameras, but it's the way it is. And this is also supposedly, it's a Sung type piece that's looks like a Sung piece. It's not. It's brand new. That also belonged to Arland Holmes. That's being offered by U.S. Poly International Auction Gallery. And this is another piece that was, let's see, this one was sold by Roswell. It's also supposed to be from Mr. Holmes's collection. And on and on. This is another piece, Arland Holmes, again, sold at Eden Fine Auction Galleries for $3,200. And of course, if that was original, you know, a pair of these would be worth upwards of two or three million, if there is such a thing as a pair of those, because typically they didn't make them in pairs. And then you have this Yuan blue and white Meiping vase, which if authentic would be worth millions. This came from Mr. Holmes as well, and according to this, in 2020 he was still alive, 1951 to present, but according to other people he died in 2019. At any rate, this is a multi-million-dollar pot as well if it were authentic, and on and on. And this is the Seven Seas Auction Gallery. This seems to be like the cleanup department for the other auction houses, where they send all the stuff that couldn't sell, and it ends up over here, or some of it certainly ended up here. And there were, let's see, this piece sold by Seven Seas for $2,200, and this piece sold for $300. And both of these, of course, if this was a Ming Shende bowl, it would be worth a small fortune. It would be worth a large fortune, actually. And miraculously, it sold for less than a copy of a Qianlong vase. At any rate, the point is, Poly International has nothing whatsoever to do with the Poly Group in China. They seem to be tied somehow to Lauren, Eden, Roswell, and Seven Seas, and they seem to pass the things back and forth, ship them across the country on trucks maybe, send them complete with photographs and all the write-ups. Maybe they do it electronically. I don't know how they do it, but it seems pretty gangster to me. At any rate, if you're looking at auctions by any of these companies, do not do it. You will regret it. I guarantee it. You will regret it. I'm kind of surprised that maybe Poly International has been approached by Poly Group proper in China and asked to stop using their name, and they may have used the name at variance enough to skirt any international copyright laws. But at any rate, U.S. Poly International Auction Gallery is just a totally made-up thing. It's not a legitimate auction house, and they sell nothing but copies as far as I can tell. And those are my opinions on it. All right, have a good week. I'll be back, or have a good rest of your week. I'll be back tomorrow with the weekly video, and thanks so much for watching. Okay, bye-bye.